Inkling, at the end of this transfer window, will Coutinho be wearing a Liverpool kit or a Barca kit?
Sebby, I'm going to go back to what I've said before. I don't think this move makes sense, given that you're going to have to pay a premium. Doesn't make sense for Barcelona, who won't be able to use him in the Champions League, and needs to pay extra for a guy who maybe they could get for a little bit less in the summer, because you always pay a premium in January. And it certainly, I don't think, makes sense for Liverpool right now, because without Coutinho, they'll have a harder time, obviously, making the top four, and that lost revenue in the Champions League, would offset whatever extra they gain by selling him now. Now, that said, Liverpool were very, very confident that they were expecting a bid, apparently, from Barcelona. Now, that bid hasn't come yet. My sense is that this is being driven by Coutinho's people, who, of course, drove it before in August as well. You know what? If I had to guess right now, just simply because it doesn't make sense to me, I would say no. But, watch this space. There's a long time to go yet in January.
Ale, do you agree with Gab that this doesn't really make a lot of sense right now?
Well, when you hear Gab's explanation, all of what Gab's saying, okay, that makes sense, all right? But I just think that there are feelings here. Mm-hmm. And when you put feelings into it, I just think that Philippe Coutinho wants out. He wanted out in the summer. That didn't happen. And there was disappointment there. And then kind of took his time to get back into the team. Now he's back in the team. And now when he's getting back into some sort of rhythm, we're hearing once again that he's going to Barcelona. When you have feelings and the player is involved and he wants to leave, if there is a team like Barcelona, who, by the way, paying the premium now or paying in the summer, I don't know how much of a difference that really makes, then you may just think that, you know what, why not do the business if you're Liverpool? And oh, by the way, you've also just paid a big chunk of money for Virgil van Dijk. Maybe you want to make the difference up. Maybe you want to somehow pay for that by selling Coutinho. I don't know that that's the case. I'm merely speculating here. But all I know is that if feelings are involved and then player wants out, then usually the player ends up leaving.
Right. Yeah, and I go back to my point at the start of the season. Personally, I had Liverpool in the top four, but that didn't, in fourth place. But it didn't mean I was convinced they were going to do it. And I'm still yet to be convinced, and I think it is still open for Tottenham to potentially, or even Arsenal, to get in that top four.
Shaka, during the break, you were doing some research. Would you like to tell us what you were doing?
I was just looking at Spurs' upcoming fixtures.
How does it look?
And they are?
West Ham, Everton, Southampton, 3 winnable games.
Yep.
Then they at home to United, away to Liverpool, and home to Arsenal, which I think defines exactly where Spurs finish. Now, I picked Spurs to finish in the top 4. I'm going to stick with that for now, but I have to admit, given their struggles against Swansea and given how good Liverpool are looking at late, Liverpool are better form right now. I just feel, and I know they've just made a new signing, I just feel that Liverpool's defence may yet let them down.
How much of failure would it be if Spurs don't make it in the top 4, considering a couple of months ago we were saying they were City's closest challengers?
Failure, because they looked at the time to be the 2 months ago, whatever it was, second best team in England. That's what they looked like at the time. Then they hit a rocky patch. I would slightly go the other way in this game at Swansea. I think they've dug out a very good 3 points here because of the weather conditions. Horrible rain and wind. The pitch was awful.
Don't you footballers like playing in the rain? I'm sure I hear all the time, these are great conditions, exactly what you want to play.
Who have you been listening to?
They say all the time, they bring out this rhetoric.
No.
Footballers love it, great conditions.
Who does?
Steve, Bob, John, I've heard them all say it.
No. That kind of pitch levels the playing field, right? Because Tottenham can't play that free-flowing, quick passing, quick moving game because you're playing against the wind as well, so you're having to gauge your passes. I think this was a really good 3 points. Swansea were a new manager. Conditions were dreadful. Leave Harry Kane out to give him a rest and still pick up the points. I think that's job done.
£75 million for Virgil van Dijk, and that shows the requirement at the back at Liverpool. They needed to strengthen at the back. And he's 26 years old. He was wanted by Man City and Chelsea. He's proved himself in the Premier League. He can bring the ball to defence. He's tall, he's strong, he can head the ball. I think they've got a great signing in Van Dijk. And people will question the fee, but they questioned the fee for Rio Ferdinand at Man United in 2002, £30 million, and over the years he repaid it in huge chunks. So if Van Dijk can be half as successful at Liverpool as Ferdinand was at Manchester United, I think it's good value for money. He'll bring stability, leadership, organisation to a defence which desperately needs it. I think he will take Liverpool to a different level because he's so much better than what they've already got. I'm not saying he's the best defender in the world because I think he still has development in his game to achieve, but let's be honest, Liverpool's defence is a lot of average players, players that aren't good enough, and the only danger for Van Dijk is that he goes there and gets dragged down to their level. The idea that I'm sure Jurgen Klopp has is that he raises the rest of his teammates to his level. So I think Van Dijk can be a real star for Liverpool the next 4 or 5 years, and it'll be interesting to see how he copes against Everton in his derby. Big game for his first game for Liverpool. Yeah, playing for Liverpool is a much bigger challenge than playing for Southampton, but Van Dijk has played for Celtic. He's played for a big club in Scotland, and although in the Premier League people might not realise how big Celtic are, if you play for Celtic, the microscope is on you all the time, and he's come through that, and he was a star in Scotland. So I think Van Dijk can cope with it. He's a Dutch player, and Dutch players tend to have a lot of natural confidence as well. So I think he'll be fine at Liverpool. I think it could actually make him grow as a player. Well, Liverpool have spent £75 million on Van Dijk. They've also committed to spend over £50 million on Naby Keita, who will arrive from Red Bull Leipzig in the summer. So the question is, where does that money come from? Obviously, there's a lot of TV money coming in, but clearly Barcelona want to sign Philippe Coutinho. They could get 120, £130 million for him. So I don't think he'll go in January, but I do think it's looking inevitable now that he'll go in the summer, a bit like when Cristiano Ronaldo left Man United for Real Madrid, £80 million. There's a time and a place, and I think Coutinho's been great for Liverpool this season, but it does look to me like the summertime will be when he goes.
Not even in the squad. Apparently it was a thigh knock. However, Spanish newspapers this weekend saying the door is open for Coutinho, said Sport, the Catalan newspaper. Meanwhile, Mundo Deportivo is saying that Coutinho's already looking for houses in Barcelona. We welcome Sid Lowe to the show from Madrid. Sid, could this happen this month?
I don't think it's impossible. I think that there's a big gap and a big difference between there being a possibility of this happening and some of the things that have been suggested now that it's done, it's not done. I think what's happened, and I think you can see this in the reporting that's been done in Catalonia in particular, is that Barcelona believe they have a sense of the kind of fee that it would take to get him now, and they have a sense, or they believe at least, and they may well have read this wrong because in the summer they consistently got it wrong, they have a sense that Liverpool would be willing now. Now, in part, that's interpretive rather than informative. It's not because they've been told this, it's because they're reading the signs, it's because they have a sense that this is where Liverpool are going. And they think that that fee would be around about 140 million euros plus quite a lot more in objectives. I mean, we're talking about a total fee of, in all probability, way over 160, 170 million euros. Now, that's not to say they're necessarily going to do this, but bear in mind that Barcelona wanted Coutinho in the summer. They know that Coutinho wanted to come, so there's a kind of a moral obligation to him as well to try and force this through. But there is, and there's no getting away from this, there is a debate within Barcelona about whether this is really the right thing to do, about whether they can really commit this kind of money to a player that would block the progress of Denis Suarez. And I know, obviously, Denis Suarez is nowhere near in the same league, that maybe blocks the progress of Sergio Roberto, that maybe right now, for at least for as long as Andres Iniesta is playing well, kind of doesn't necessarily become an automatic first choice of player, although admittedly he would very quickly. So this isn't decided, and even if it was decided, it's not that easy to get done, but it's certainly not impossible.
Are you surprised that's even a conversation?
Yeah, I don't see this.
Barcelona have had a great start to the season, absolutely flying, defied their critics. So is there a situation, as Sid says, that if you spend all this money, bring in Coutinho, that it might just upset the apple cart?
Not at all. You're bringing in absolute quality. And really, Denis Suarez is not even close to getting anywhere near where Coutinho is. I don't see how that Roberto gets knocked back either. Listen, this is Barcelona. Barcelona have to be up there all the time. And the only thing that happens if they get Coutinho is it makes them stronger and better. So why would you not do it?
I remember in the summer there was a period in which you get very red and very angry and say, come on, Liverpool.
What was red?
It's time for the owners to make a statement.
And they did.
And not sell Coutinho.
And they did.
Do you still have the same feelings with regards to a possible move?
I think the move's going to happen in the summer. I think the Fenway Group made a statement. But I think the fact that Coutinho has turned round and performed the way he has shown his loyalty to Liverpool. He definitely wants to go to Barcelona. And I think if this offer that Sid's talking about comes in the summer, I think Liverpool would be foolish not to take it.
What if he goes now?
It makes no sense. He can't play in the Champions League for Barcelona, and Liverpool have to make sure they get in the top 4 this season. So, you know, Liverpool, I mean, it makes no sense for Liverpool that he goes in January. Absolutely none. I think this is going to happen in the summer.
If Barcelona are as desperate as it seems and are willing to pay, they'll pay it in the summer. Makes no sense, as Stevie said. Makes no sense. He will help their bid to stay ahead in the La Liga domestic title race, which he would clearly improve their team. But there's no Champions League football for him in a Barcelona shirt. And I can't help but feeling that one of the things that have been said in the quiet to Coutinho is, look, help us this season.
Yeah.
We've got some irons in the fire. Just help us out domestically. As Stevie said, the bread and butter is the top four. Then next summer, we'll grant you your wish.
Yeah.
Right? And I can't see anything other than in the summer, Coutinho going to Barcelona. I would be shocked if he moved this January. Absolutely shocked.
See, the boys make a good point, don't they, in a sense that, look, Barca are going to win La Liga. He can't play in the Champions League. Why push it through now? Why not wait until the summer?
Yeah. This happens quite often, actually, that you see deals pushed through when you can't really see a logical reason to do it. And I think one of the reasons is that clubs are concerned that the market can move in the meantime. The clubs are concerned that the promises that are made to them, unless they're written down, unless it's a written clause, and of course this is what we saw with Luis Suarez when he renewed with Liverpool, it's what we've seen with Antoine Griezmann when he renewed with Atletico Madrid last year, that there were clauses inserted in that new deal that made it watertight. Now this is one of the things that happens, of course, is that for as long as that's not there, people are concerned that things may change, that people are concerned that other suitors may come in, that the price may be driven up, that the market may shift. And so there is sometimes a sense that let's do it now, even if in a way these kind of extra 4 or 5 months are almost relevant. But exactly, the boys make a perfectly logical point. Not just actually, as Craig was saying, it just doesn't make any sense for Liverpool. It doesn't really make a huge amount of sense for Coutinho, except that it would end any fear. It would end any concern that this might fall apart at some stage if they were to wait.
Do pretty well for big clubs like Mohamed Salah has been doing. Interest will come, especially from a bigger club, if you would argue such a thing. Real Madrid seem to be interested in the man. Paul Mariner is here with me now because, Paul, we have to see if he is up to Real Madrid level. If we have a look at just his career in the past, now we know that he was at Chelsea, then he went on loan to Fiorentina, spent 2 full seasons at Roma before moving to Liverpool, which is where he calls home now. So Mara's definitely quite the talent this man has, but is it a Galactico level, or could he get there?
Well, it looks as though the way that Real Madrid are playing this season, they're going to be in transition. You know, it's can Ronaldo keep going?
Yes.
Benzema seems to be on the way out. Bale, what's going to happen with him? So, can he play that? Yes, I think he can. What it boils down to for me, Lex, is the way that the team plays. Mm-hmm. And when you look at Salah coming to Liverpool, it's absolutely tailor-made for him to really, really shine. He plays in that wide area. He works hard out of transition. But when
so is he just benefiting from Klopp's style of play, preferred style of play,
to
that high press
yeah.
now?
When Roma sold him, he didn't fit into what Roma was doing. Their pattern of play didn't work. They doubled the money on Salah, so it's good business for them. And he wanted to leave, so unhappy player. Okay, we'll double our money. So he goes to Liverpool and absolutely knocks it out of the park. I mean, he's been fantastic. The way that Klopp has handled him, the way that he's played for the Anfield faithful is absolutely lights out. Now, can he make that massive step up?
Because I was saying, with all due respect to Liverpool, their ambitions are not quite the same yet as Real Madrid's, because Real Madrid are looking to win trebles and stuff every year.
But the Fenway Group are still trying to hang on to Coutinho. They've bought £75 million most expensive defender in the world, Van Dijk. So there's intent there with the Fenway Group. I just don't think that they would want to sell him. Everybody has a price. Yes, I completely understand that. But he seems to be a really happy player. You know, the system, you know, with Firmino and Coutinho feeding him and the likes of Henderson supplying as well, it just seems to fit him. And when you're, you know, he's obviously getting well paid, he's in a happy situation. Obviously, when Barcelona, Real Madrid, of teams of that ilk come along, it does turn your head a little bit. But can he play there? I think he can play there because he's got that breakaway speed that you can't handle it.
Well, we know that Real Madrid likes to get their hands on the newest, shiniest thing, but it seems like Liverpool would be a bit dumb to let this one go.
Very dumb.
The things I could say now, and but only great stories. You write the stories anyway, so I have nothing to say about it. That's actually how it is. That's how it is. So it's a transfer window. Well, but that's all. That's all. And I know that means already I opened the door halfway because I mentioned that it's a transfer window, but there's nothing to say about. So what would help me or the player or the club? Really nothing to say about. Maybe 80% of the cameras are only here because of these answers. That's waste of time then. Yeah, that's it. Really nothing to say about. Maybe 80% of the cameras are only here because of these answers. That's waste of time then. Yeah, that's it. The lineup will be a lineup which shows all the respect we have for the FA Cup. I know that a few people said that I don't respect cup competition or stuff like that enough, but that's actually not the truth. So maybe we have to make it a little bit more obvious. I cannot win the FA Cup in a press conference, so we have to be really good in the games, and that's first of all. And if we go through, there will wait another top team and then another one, and so that's how it is. We need to be ready always. And but to be honest, it doesn't help if you make it too big in front of a game, because I said that we have pressure is a fact, but it's not allowed to feel it all the time. You have to use it much more. So, and we have to use the quality of our players. We have to use the quality of the squad, and to be successful at the end. And that's what we really. That's how I said. I think we are on a good way, but we have to prove it every day. It's a cup competition, and it's isolated from the season. It's much more opportunity than pressure, especially for the team who people say they are not the favorites or whatever. But I think in the cup tie there are no real favorites. You need to be ready for it, and that we play at Anfield must be a big boost for us as well. And I hope we can use that then. But style of play of Everton, I don't know exactly, but it depends to what we do 100%. Football as well. So that if it happens like this, we can't change it. If we try, if there's a player out there and with any contract in next summer, and he's good, what Emery obviously is, then we should try to do the same. So that's an opportunity for all of us. It's only one specific case. So what could I do now? I could now say, yes, it's a big problem, but it isn't. I could say it's a big problem, we have to sort this now. I put pressure on the player, put pressure on the club. People are not concerned anymore, then they are angry. That makes absolutely no sense. We have to respect even an ending contract. It's like it is. So if a contract ends, there are two sides who could have done differently. One of them is the club, and the other side is the player. And now we talk too much about it. It's just a normal situation.
In my mind, I want to be the best player ever in Egypt, in the history. So I know what I want. I know how to do it. I'm working hard every day, improving myself. So that's what I want. So I think I'm going well. I'm doing well at the moment. So I'm going to see even in the future, this one and next one and next one. I think we have good national team, and we did very well in Africa Cup and qualification for the World Cup. We did very well, and we qualify. We deserve that. Everyone saw that, and I'm very sure. I'm very happy and very excited for the World Cup, and I'm very sure we're gonna do something special in that World Cup.
Is Mohamed Salah.
Winning this award is a dream come true. 2017 was unbelievable year for me. I had a fantastic time with the national team and with the team. It was an unbelievable moment. It was very difficult to explain the moments to qualify to the World Cup after 28 years and to have a great season with the club, with Rome and with Liverpool. I want